Now, I thought that when Jody dressed up like this for a video, he'd officially lost his marbles. Turns out that was only the tip of the iceberg, because just a few months later, he's done something even crazier. Erebus, the brand founded by Jody and his business partner Steve, have just released a 44mm dive watch, and they've decided to send it to the reviewer who notoriously loves smaller watches. This one might just be a car crash. Hello there, my name is Kieran, welcome to Top Tier Ticker. I hope you're having a good day. Today I have not one, not two, not three, but 4 of the new Erebus Titan watches in for review. Typically, I personally don't go above 41mm. I have a 6.5 inch wrist, so that's not really by choice, more out of necessity. But I will admit that I was instantly intrigued by the dimensions of the Titan, as it sounds like a large diver that can be worn on not so large wrists. And I think this might just be the most amount of links that will ever be removed from the Titan. So if this watch fits me, I'm sure it will fit most of you. These watches are on loan from Erebus. They ain't paying me a single dime for this video. This is purely me intrigued to see how this massive watch wears on my baby wrist. So today I have the black dial, the orange fume, the purple fume with a black DLC case, and the white full lume. I'm also going to be comparing the size of the Titan against the Erebus Origin 41 and the Origin 38 in this video, both side by side and on wrist too. Firstly though, I'm going to run you through the spec of the Titan. I'm then going to review each dial option one by one in order from my favourite to my least favourite, so stick around to see what my number one recommendation is. Okay, so the Titan is exactly what the name suggests. It's a bit of a beast. It features a full 316L stainless steel construction throughout, including solid end links, solid links, a milled clasp with on-the-fly adjustment, and a solid screw-down case back. In terms of the face of the watch, we have a ceramic bezel, dome sapphire with anti-reflective treatment, and BGW9 on the hands, indexes, and bezel markings. The signed crown is also loomed on the Titan. It's very large, so it's extremely easy to grip, and the left side of the watch features a helium escape valve. That means that the Titan delivers a whopping 500-meter water resistance rating, which is about 497 meters deeper than I ever planned to go. Movement is the venerable Seiko NH35. The Titan features a 6 o'clock date, 4 o'clock crown, and all models feature a colour matched date wheel. Size is of course the big talking point when it comes to this watch. 44mm case diameter, they measure in at 15.9mm in thickness on my calipers, but the lug to lug is just 48.5mm, and the bracelet does feature negative end links, so they shoot straight down towards the wrist. 22mm lug width, bracelet tapers down to 20mm, the clasp is then 22.5mm, chunky bracelet links adjusted by screwed pins, signed double push button clasp. All watches come with a 2-slot travel case, a polishing cloth, screwdriver, and a warranty card that gets you 2 years of coverage. Now when it comes to colours, my least favourite of the 4 is the black. For me, micro brands are all about colour, fun, and style. The black dial, simply put, is just boring. The little pop of red does add a splash of life, but I literally mean a splash. There is a light grainy finish to the dial, similar to the Origin, but I must say that the applied elements to the dial of the Titan have added a lot of personality that wasn't present on the Origin. Especially the applied Erebus logo, it looks really good. I will say that legibility on the black is exceptionally strong, but given how big these watches are, I don't think that's going to be an issue with a single Titan, even if you're as blind as a bat. Third place goes to the orange fume Titan. There is tons more energy and life on this model. It feels like the perfect pairing for a trip to the beach. My only complaint here is that the orange on the bezel doesn't match the orange in the center of the dial. The dial features an almost burnt copper. The bezel and date window feel like a ripe orange. The sunburst finish here is also super strong. It flashes and flares in the light with ease, which I do really like on this one. Legibility is fine thanks to the fume finish, and this one generally is a lot of fun. Second place goes to the full lume dial. Yes, you could argue that this one is just as boring as the black dial because it's white, but the fun part of this watch is of course the low light experience. All of the Titan models do have great lume, but there's nothing like a full luminous dial. It's one of those things that just makes a watch feel alive, along with the smooth sweep of mechanical movement. In full light, I really like the splash of orange along the dial. I think that it gives you an opportunity to wear this with an orange FKM rubber, which would reduce the overall weight of the watch and make it look even better for the beach. But shockingly, coming in at first place is the purple with the DLC case. I never thought in a million years that I'd put a black coated watch at number 1, but this one is just cool. The black coating to the case has been done very well. The purple dial is subtle but comes alive in the right angle, and the legibility here is just sensational. Because the entire case, bracelet and bezel is black, the white markings stand out effortlessly. And personally, I have no need for a steel 44mm diver in my collection. I've got plenty of smaller divers that do that job already, so if I'm going for something this big, I want it to be a bit different. I could absolutely imagine pulling this one out a few times a month when I'm feeling a little bit ambitious and having some fun with it. Don't sleep on the black versions, they're probably the coolest of the bunch. And also, if you've already got a regular Erebus Origin, you probably should get something a little bit different, no? Now, with 6 links removed, the watch weighs in at 215 grams. This is one of the heaviest, largest diameter, thickest watches that I've ever reviewed or even worn. But what I will say is this watch wears so much better than the numbers suggest. It doesn't feel like it's 15.9mm thick. That 44mm case does feel more like a 42. However, when it comes to the weight, it's definitely on the nose. This is a heavy watch. One thing I have to point out here is how similar the dimensions are to the popular Casio Duro. Same case diameter, same lug width, and even the same lug to lug. Duro is of course much thinner and lighter, but visually it wears very similar, and I have owned a Casio Duro, so I can confirm that. This for me is a watch that I could not wear on the daily. I personally would simply get sick and tired of the size and the weight, but I wouldn't mind throwing it on over the weekend. Genuinely, it wears so much better than I was expecting. My guess is that the lug to lug is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, pun not intended, because visually it doesn't look too dissimilar to my 41mm Omega Seamaster. So my overall opinion on the size is actually quite positive. The fact Erebus has managed to create a 44mm diver that looks good on my wrist is quite an achievement. Now, next to the Origin 41, you can certainly tell that the Titan is its bigger brother. Not by much mind, there's only 1.5mm different in the lug to lug, and the silhouettes are very similar. One thing I must point out though is the thickness in link size. The links on the Titan are huge in comparison with the Origin 41, and I do think the most noticeable difference here between the two models is the bracelet and the clasp. The Titans are much bigger and beefier. Next to the Origin 38, there is a noticeable difference in all-round size. The Titan looks substantially bigger in every single way, and I do find it funny just how much bigger the clasp is on the Titan to deal with all the extra weight of the head of the watch. But I don't think someone that's in the market for a 38mm Origin is going to be in the market for this watch anyway. And just for fun, here's a family shot of the Titan, both Origin sizes, and the 39mm Ascent for comparison. Okay, time for the flaws. The sapphire clarity isn't as good on the Titan as it is on the Origin. This is to be expected with a domed crystal, but something to consider nonetheless. I would have preferred more of a taper to the bracelet and therefore a smaller clasp. I know they've probably gone with these sizes to offer better balance with the head of the watch, but that doesn't change the fact that this clasp is absolutely massive. And if I was at Erebus, I would have gone with the Miyota 9015 for the Titan. After the Ascent featured the Miyota 9015, I was expecting them to transition to that movement permanently going forward. It would have meant the Titan could have been slimmer and of course a smoother sweep of the second hand. I don't think that anyone would have had a problem paying an extra $100 to have the Miyota movement over the Seiko. Especially considering the watch is almost 16mm thick, the 9015 would have made a big difference. Regular dial options will set you back $349, the full loom and the DLC options will set you back $389, and the Meteorite will set you back $449, plus tax and shipping on those prices too. This is a pre-order, so delivery is expected in November, but Erebus splits the payments into two, 50% now and 50% when the watch is ready, and I wish more brands would do pre-orders this way. The Titan, well, it's a monster. It of course wears big, but probably better than you might think. My opinion is that the Titan is head and shoulders better than the Origin. It just has way more character and charm about it. Now, the only problem is I couldn't wear one of these every day because I'd end up injuring a loved one when I tried to give them a cuddle, but as an occasional wear piece, the Titan is a lot of fun. I'll leave the Erebus website linked below if you want to check out the other colour variants. Big well done to Jody and Steve for just doing something a little bit different. Thanks for watching, catch you in the next one guys. Bye for now.